Welcome to a new episode of Ain't Got Time to Read, the place where I read a story, give you a breakdown of the plot and simply save you time. Here is your spoiler alert. If you have not read the story I'm about to discuss and you do plan to read it, then you may want to avoid this video. So that being said, let's dig into the plot of today's story. The story begins with Iron Man trying out his new training room controlled by James Rhodes. While training, he is also test running a new Iron Man suit that can be controlled from the main suit, allowing there to be two Iron Men on the field. Later that day, Tony is alerted to an alarm being triggered at a nuclear facility. As Iron Man approaches, a woman tells him that a giant ghost is in there. Iron Man is unsure about who she is referring to. The building is damaged around Iron Man in an attempt to hurt him, and in order to stop a nuclear reaction, Iron Man ends up buried under a lot of the building. Titanium Man reveals himself as the one attacking Iron Man, and he wants revenge against Iron Man for killing him. Iron Man briefly fights Titanium Man, but manages to get away and doesn't have much time to stop the final reactor from exploding. He digs his way underneath the reactor and flies it out of the facility and forces it down into the sea and attempts to cover it with as much silt as possible, but it still creates an explosion. Tony wakes up in San Francisco with no recollection of what he has done for the past 3 days. There is a woman there he does not know. The woman takes a call when leaving Tony, and it is revealed that she had been paid to watch him for the 3 days. The man who paid her is named DeWitt. When returning to his office, Tony suits up as Iron Man and investigates the nuclear facility where he falls into an underground cavern. He is confronted by Titanium Man again, and Iron Man apologises for killing Titanium Man and tells him that it was an accident. There is a bright light and the Living Lazor reveals himself and is overwhelmed to find out that he is going up against the original Iron Man. He was disappointed to hear the original Iron Man had not died at his hands and wants to claim the kill for himself. The Living Lazor attacks Iron Man. During the fight between Iron Man and the Living Lazor fires a light laser beam that penetrates Iron Man's armour and wounds Iron Man's arm. DeWitt watches on screen as Iron Man's bio-readings indicate that he is involved in something dangerous. Mars Corp step in and tell DeWitt to shut down Iron Man. Iron Man slumps to the floor, not understanding what is happening. The Living Lazor refuses to finish off Iron Man and take an easy win. Later on, a bunch of techies and scientists find Iron Man and believe that he is dead. Although he is paralysed, Tony is able to remote control another Iron Man suit with his mind and has it collect him and take him to safety. DeWitt manages to convince the Mars twins to unparalyze Iron Man, as it could jeopardise their plans. Tony is able to move again and decides that he needs to look into why he can randomly be paralysed. Tony gets a clean bill of health after doctors run tests on him, but he is suspicious of the results as he should have long-term ailments from his years of dealing with alcoholism. Mr. DeWitt gives the orders to take control of Tony Stark. Tony is mid-conversation with Rhodey when he stops and walks off. Rhodey suspects something is wrong and follows Tony. He quickly notices that someone is manning the security cameras, and as nobody is in the facility, the surveillance room should be empty. He finds Cartwright in there and realises that he has been bought off. They fight, but Rhodey wins. When he heads back to Tony, DeWitt has Tony attack Rhodey, but manages to knock Tony out. Hiding from the cameras and using secret passageways, Rhodey gets Tony to his armour without being seen by any surveillance. Using his encephalo link, Tony is able to wear an Iron Man suit while controlling it with his mind. The Living Lazor makes a reappearance and Iron Man goes off to fight him regardless of his current problem. Rhodey calls the Avengers to try and help Tony. Iron Man and the Living Lazor fight again, but the Living Lazor gets the upper hand. Wonder Man and Hank Pym rescue Iron Man. Wonder Man takes on the Living Lazor, but the Living Lazor gets the upper hand again, but is destroyed by Iron Man. Iron Man explains to Wonder Man that he was not killed, as the Living Lazor cannot die, but will take a couple of years to completely put himself back together. A week later, an angry crowd is at the gates of Stark's facility, and a man named Henderson is riling up the crowd. They break down the gates and all hell breaks loose. A fire is started on the ground and Iron Man douses out the fire and tries to calm the crowd down. However, due to his paralysis and controlling the suit with his mind, for over a week Tony falls from the sky and believes that he is having a heart attack. Luckily for Tony, it isn't a heart attack. He sits up and uses his thrusters to get away. Rhodey grabs a helicopter and catches him. They are trailed by a Mars Company helicopter. When they are back at the facility, which has been fitted with blockers that prevents anybody from taking control of Tony, they run tests and find that Tony's nervous system has been taken over, and it must have been caused by the chip that allows Tony to walk again. They look into who provided the chip, and Rhodey notices the name Mars and tells Tony that they were tailed by a Mars helicopter earlier. Now aware that Mars are behind this, Tony suits up and attacks Mars Corps' facility. He sees his nervous system being monitored on the screen and knows that he is at the right place. He is attacked by DeWitt in a mechanised suit and uses some built-in tech to cause Tony to feel intense pain through his nervous system. Iron Man manages to push past the pain and puts up a fight. He manages to damage DeWitt's suit, but it isn't enough. Iron Man is beat and has no more fight in him, but Rhodey saves Tony by wearing one of the Iron Man suits. Tony connects himself to Rhodey's suit, amplifying his power, and Rhodey gives DeWitt a massive blast of energy. When they open up the suit, Tony is surprised that he doesn't know who DeWitt is, because with him talking about retribution against Tony, he assumed it was somebody he knew. The building starts to cave in, and Tony and Rhodey manage to get to safety, but DeWitt is buried under the rubble. Thank you for watching, and if you liked the video, please like and subscribe, and I will see you with the next video.